So now we move on to our next session where we're looking at SaaS economics. And Lorenzo is going to be joined by a great lineup of panelists: Micky Edwards of Tag Video Systems, Remy Baudin from Atem, and Stuart Bourne of MediaKind. Lorenzo, back to you.
Hello everyone again. We are back with a panel discussion, and I'm delighted to be joined by Remy Baudin, who is Chief Strategy Officer at Atem, Stuart Bourne, who is Senior Product Leader at MediaKind, and Micky Edwards, who is VP of Business Development at Tag Video Systems. Thanks all for being with us today.
Good morning. Pleased to be here.
In this session, we will discuss the business and economic implications of the transition to SaaS business models for technology suppliers. And it's nice to do that after we've just talked to a media organization. But let's start immediately with the discussion. You've heard, hopefully, Robert from ZDF talking about the media technology suppliers and some of the specific challenges they are facing to achieve business success. And I wanted to ask you, do you agree with what he said? And what is your business doing to address these challenges? Maybe starting from you, Remy.
Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for being here with us. I think that Robert highlighted very good points. And without going into the full details of his great session, I reminded 3 points. First, the cloud is not about cost. We should not look at migrating to the cloud just because it's cheaper, because most of the time it's not cheaper, but it provides greater flexibility. Secondly, we will have to face hybrid operations. Let's not go cloud or SaaS washing. Some operation will remain on-prem, as usual, CapEx. Others will move to cloud and SaaS because it makes sense. And we have to face the reality that we'll have this hybrid world. Lastly, new horizon. We are in a transforming industry. We at Atem, we help this industry transforming. And this is where we need to realize that we have to talk to new people. Our customers need to talk to new people. We have to go outside the video world to talk to the workflow, to talk to the IT, to talk to marketing, business, so that eventually we move from a product-oriented industry to a solution-oriented or revenue-generating industry.
Thanks, Remy. Thanks for recapping some of the main points of the previous discussion so well. Let's move to you, Stuart. What is your view?
Yeah, I thought it was also an excellent opening presentation, and again, thanks for having us here. The hybrid operation that Robert talked about is really important. I think that for a while everybody assumed that we were going to make the leap from on-premise to cloud, and within the matter of a few years we would be deploying new infrastructure, new architectures on cloud, and the old world would have gone away. What we've really seen is that's not happening. It is very much a world of let's support what we have, let's make sure that what we have is reliable. But then on to Robert's next point, which is the short versus the long-term projects. I think that's also a really insightful comment that he made right there, because we, for instance, explore 360 video in the cloud. We know that 360 video hasn't taken off as a global adoption, but cloud allowed that exploration to happen with our customers and to learn. And that's really where we are with cloud. We're learning how to leverage it, how to evolve it, how to make it work for live, how to deal with the limits that cloud has, but then also look at the ability to give us the ways to explore, to use artificial intelligence, to use the data. And I think that's really what came out in Robert's comment, in that it's about taking what we have, making sure that really works, and then carefully adopting the cloud for the areas where it's going to be really good and really useful to us.
Thanks, Stuart. Interesting that the hybrid comment has come up in Robert's discussion. It's coming up here so many times. We also have a session on hybrid business models later, just to let the audience know. But let's move to Micky now. Micky, what is your view on what Robert said?
Hey, good morning, Lorenzo.
Hi,
Apologies,
Micky.
my throat, it's still a little sore this morning, but I'll do my best to get my points across. I think very clearly from Robert, there was three key elements really. Was hybrid, was communication, and business alignment, and really that's the foundation of TAG as well. Is that this is, we're a very open company. We look at what we can do with aligning our business to that of the clients, and how we can do open communication, working with technology partners, and working with third parties as well. So all of these elements that Robert has been mentioning very much line up. And I think the other couple of points that I picked up from his session was new skills are required and skills transfer. He's got a great technical staff, but he also needs a new technical staff as well in the IT world. So he's having to transition across these services and make sure that he's got the right skill sets within the organization. And I think that's important that manufacturers take this into consideration and help with that skills transfer. And a different mindset. I think that's really key, is that it's not the same as a traditional broadcast. You have to have a different mindset and are willing to work with the clients in explaining why it is different, and how you can help them through this. So yeah, I think that that's really led up great into the next set of discussion questions.
Thanks, Micky. Thanks for being with us today, despite the sore throat.
It's fine.
I want to stay on you and move to your business models, to technology suppliers' business models. When moving to SaaS, arguably pricing can be a challenge for you. What I wanted to ask you, what has the move to SaaS business model implied for your approach to valuing technology?
Okay, so I think what we've done within TAG is really align up our pricing with scaling, so that we can be aligned with what the businesses require, so that we can see that there's a difference between having the capex and the opex, and different opex models as well, so that you can actually build scale into this. And I think that's one of the really important things, is that you need to align with the customer requirements, and make sure that your business that you're supplying is meeting those demands from the supplier. I mean, one of the things that I can say is that our model has changed from traditionally capex, although we've always been fully IP and fully software. So we haven't had a hardware environment to that we've built ourselves. So it's always been software and an IP. But transitioning from the capex world to the opex SaaS world means that we've really had to look very carefully at how we can manage the scaling of this, and it's been very successful for us. I think last month we actually hit a milestone where we delivered over 11.5 million license hours in 1 month. And the revenue that generated was actually equivalent to what we'd done as a business about 3 years ago. So the scaling of the operation really has to meet what the demands and requirements are for the new customer.
Thanks so much, Micky. Stuart, what's your view on this?
So I think it's the business models are very interesting, and I think they provide a lot of benefit, but they've also forced us to think very differently. We came from a world where we did have a hardware world where you supplied a number of boxes. The business model was very straightforward capex, and every few years then it got replaced with the next set of technology. And where we've really transformed our business models is to go much more channel based or subscriber based, and that gives us and our customers a huge amount of flexibility, because once you move into that new world of new business models, then we can do things like adding channels and turning them up and down very flexibly, and the models can change according to what the customer is going through right now. Robert talked about peak flow. You can do things like charging for peak when you need to charge for peak, and then running your disaster recovery on a different pricing model. So the flexibility that the world of SaaS and subscription gives you, providing your business models are much more consumer and solution centric and not box centric, it gives you a new world of flexibility. And I think we're learning how to build that into obviously our P&L and our customers' P&L, because they recognize revenue at different times and different ways, and that's where we're having to learn to adapt and adopt. But the ultimate advantages of the flexibility that it's going to give us going forwards, from a MediaKind perspective, we're finding that that's giving us a load more new opportunities.
Thanks, Stuart. And we'll come back to this point about flexibility later. But first, I want to ask Remy about his view on technology valuation as well.
So yeah, your question is about technology valuation. I think from that pure standpoint, it does not change. We are in a tech business, and the way to make a difference, not the difference, is actually to provide a cutting-edge technology, a future-proof vision to our customers. The customers are still adamant in implementing services with new tech features, be it on dynamic ad insertion, be it about the sound, the visual quality. So there will be still a bigger value for cutting-edge technology as opposed to the low-cost technologies. Yet, having said that, the main difference when we move to SaaS is that this is a question of mindset. We are moving from we sell a box with upfront investment to we sell a relationship. We sell a trust. This is what SaaS is about. And we have to gain trust to the customers on the long run. Don't get me wrong, when we sell products, because we are still selling some products, remember the hybrid world, we have to gain the trust of the customers, and then there will be SLA, maintenance, and renewal. But SaaS is really different. You are more here, and this is what we are telling to our salespeople. We are here to sell the partnership, the vision, the company, rather than more a point SaaS. So this is the main mindset change that we are seeing.
Thanks, Remy. I remember a quote from Adobe when they were making initially their transition to SaaS, about selling a box and forgetting about it, as opposed to selling services and this partnership, this trust element, as Robert highlighted previously as well, becomes much more important, and incorporating customer feedback within your offerings become more important as well. Thanks for highlighting that. So I wanted to move to the point that Stuart made just previously, because IABM research has highlighted that some media technology business models are starting to become much more aligned with customer revenue generating activities such as advertising and subscriptions. We've been saying for years that the consumer is king, but we can now, I think, see a more evident linkage between consumer habits and technology business models, particularly in content distribution. I wanted to ask you, starting from you, Stuart, how is this applicable to your business? How you think is going to develop in the future, also in relationship with the development of cloud technology?
Yeah, so I mean, Remy made a good point earlier about there is a very close tie between what we can do and how we leverage the technology, and how these business models turn to become creating a more compelling live without limits offer to the consumer. And that means that we have to be able to leverage the flexibility that cloud and SaaS brings us to do things like targeted advertising, to leverage the data that's available in the cloud ecosystem and across the entire AV pipe in the cloud, and create a more compelling offer for the consumer, such that in partnership with our customers, in partnership with other vendors even, we're able to use the flexibility that this new world gives us to continually improve the offer, improve the video quality, improve the sustainability of the AV pipe by leveraging AI to manage the amount of resources that it uses. All of those things start to become opportunities for us going forwards. And in partnership with our customers and our partners, we can then create a much more fluid ecosystem. It's not going to happen overnight because of this hybrid world that we need to be able to support and handhold. But that's where cloud ecosystems and SaaS financial models are going to eventually take us into something that's far more fluid and consumer centric.
Thanks, Stuart. Micky, do you have a view on this?
Yeah, just a quick thing, really. I think for us, the whole point of monitoring for distribution is the fact that we need to make sure that there is a superior customer experience, and this will really help drive customer loyalty and revenue growth. And towards that end, TAG has developed some systems so that we can have multiple levels of monitoring. So we've an adaptive monitoring solution. So it allows people to make best use of processing in the cloud, and can adjust their costs accordingly. So maybe they don't need to monitor all of their channels on full monitoring all of the time, and they can adjust that to suit what the revenue generation is from the different channels, so that they can make sure their prime channels are looked after, but maybe the secondary or second tier, third tier channels are then continually monitored, but in a way that becomes more cost effective for them. So very much I see this, that we need to be able to help maintain the quality of service that's being delivered to the client.
Thanks, Micky. Rami?
Yeah, on my side, I fully agree with what Micky and Stuart said. I think what we are also seeing is that it does correspond to a much more challenging playground from our customers' perspective. When you look at 10 years ago or 15 years ago, the playground was quite established, and it was difficult for a new player to come. So you got the major pay TV operators or the major broadcasters. You could have some, but it could take years for them to establish a new brand and a new service. Now with OTT, you can have new players, new kids on the block more rapidly. And these players, they can go global. So the so-called established players are now under pressure. And the ability to move to a more flexible technology solution, but also a more flexible business solution with more revenue share, more things attached to their business, allow them to share the risk. Meaning that we, the supplier, we can be successful if we make our customers successful. And we can make them successful if we provide a best of breed service with revenue attached to the ad insertion, to the gaining of subscriber, and so on. So I think it does correspond to this momentum where more competition, more risk, we share risk, and we change the business model.
Yeah. And I was hearing from your customers, from media businesses a few years ago, a lot of talk about risk sharing. But I think I've started to see a little bit more of that recently, after the pandemic. So that's very interesting because, as you said, the competition is increasing. So there is more of a need for that. And I think it's good because there is more of an alignment between the objectives of the customers and your objectives as well, which should be good for the industry. So that's interesting. Okay, Rami, I wanted to move to another topic, which is the preference for best of breed models in the industry and also in the SaaS world. We heard Robert talking about integration of cloud services before. So media businesses still demand best of breed, those are the best, but interoperable solutions as well. Arguably, this is leading to a need for partnerships again, a need also to collaborate with competitors to provide ecosystems of solutions. How is your business approaching this, starting from you, Remy?
Well, in my view, there is no big difference when moving to SaaS, meaning it is clear now that our industry is keen on having open specification and open standard. The world of proprietary standards of solutions are over. And it was already the case before moving to SaaS. The migration to SaaS does more correspond to what we discussed, more flexibility, the fact to embrace cloud operation, and the fact to move to more revenue sharing application. It doesn't change the fact that we have to be interoperable with the ecosystem. None of the company of the ecosystem can provide the full scope from the camera to the player. So there will be always competition. There will be always interoperability between either partners or competition. I think that the real impact is the move to technology like microservice and cloud operation. When you move to microservice, when you move to a granular workflow, then you make easy and easier to replace one provider by another provider. So that's really this migration to more microservice granular approach, be it on a SaaS or be it on a classic solution approach, that makes the difference and that enable customers to move from one vendor to another vendor, which may lead to competitors like MediaKind and Atem to be interoperable with.
Thanks, Remy. Stuart?
I think there's some really interesting points in your opening question and in fact what Remy said. And actually we have, as we've seen more evolution towards cloud, we've started to take a look at what that best of breed really means. So yes, there's best of breed video for quality and performance, and yes, there's best of breed architecture, and completely agree with Remy's point about how microservices should enable a more flexible ecosystem. But I do think the partnership aspect has become more important, and we've spent more time focusing on making sure that we can interoperate with both partners and in fact with our customers. We've got some really good examples of working really closely with BC Next because they're the best in cloud playout, which is where a lot of this content is. And we've integrated very tightly with them, and we know that we can work within their ecosystem such that as the broadcast industry moves across, we can provide that entire best of breed solution rather than single best of breed component. And then to take that one step further, we've announced today the partnership with Arqiva, who were a customer and who we've handheld very closely with, learning from them learning from us, moving from very much an on-premise deployment, best of breed, towards subscription. And now we're moving towards deploying or the capability to do SaaS deployments together. We're leveraging cloud. And that's been a very close partnership with a customer, in fact, that we're moving forwards and we'll take forwards to help the industry adopt the cloud faster and in a more seamless way. So I think I completely agree with Remy's point about best of breed, but I do think that we've increased our focus on partners. And then ultimately, of course, there's the cloud providers themselves. We have to know how to work with them. We have to know how to operate in their environments. Most of them are standardized, but there's a little bit of a cost each time you transition, and we need to make sure that we're ahead of that for our customers.
Interesting comment to add to what Remy said. Thanks, Stuart. Micky?
Just a few brief points from me, really. Interoperability is a big thing with TAG. We've developed a full and open API for our system. So everything that we do within the system itself is an API call. So that means it's very easy for people to integrate with us. We've also developed a new application that goes with the TAG MCM 9000. And this is MCS, the media control system. And basically what we're doing is aggregating all of these alarms that are coming across the network to us so that we can make these available to third parties so that they can integrate them into open source codes that provide AI and ML analysis, so that they could really build dashboards of all of the information that's coming through their system to really allow them to look at what's happening across there. So yeah, interoperability, the ability to be able to talk to a number of different third parties is very keen in being able to make sure that you can continue to develop the systems.
Thanks, Micky. And we now have a few minutes left, so I wanted to move to the last topic. We've already talked a little bit about this because the pandemic has pushed volatility to an extreme. Things are changing more quickly, and in this environment, I think values such as resilience have become more important in business success, of course. I wanted to ask you, and as we have a few minutes left, I would like you to be as brief as you can, please. How do you approach business planning and forecasting in this environment? And based on that, what are your priorities for next year? Maybe starting from you, Micky.
Okay, so I guess perhaps TAG has been in a fortunate position that we've always only ever been software and IP, as I think I mentioned earlier on. So if we have deployed on premise, then it's been in COTS. So this is with the major manufacturers, and they haven't suffered perhaps the same as people that are building bespoke hardware. So we haven't seen that, and in actual fact, as we've scaled up, we've seen a lot of people moving across and have hybrid solutions. So they're using cloud and on-premise solutions. So we really haven't seen that impact that a number of other companies have. So I guess from that point of view, that it's been very good for TAG. As moving into next year, what we're really going to be focusing on is continuing to develop the MCS. So, and make sure that we start looking deeper into the data analysis and starting to work with big data. And this will allow the AI and ML systems to come in and working with third parties to really get into the details and really help our customers deliver the quality of service that will help them grow their business as well.
Thanks, Micky. Stuart?
So I think, and I'm going to keep it really brief, but I think the fact that we're moving to the closing of the pandemic means that we can get closer to our customers again. We've maintained a closeness, but there's nothing like face-to-face, and help them make that transition towards live video in the cloud to be as seamless as possible for them to serve their consumers.
Thanks so much, Micky. Stuart. Remy?
Yeah, 15 seconds. Our business priority is really to see how we can apply the business flexibility of SaaS to the other business model. Because there is no reason that when you purchase a product or a solution, you can't have a flexible and easy engagement. And we already started that in the past years, and we will continue accelerating this move to more OPEX recurring approach that will match the business requirements of our customers.
Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for making it brief at the end as well. Thanks so much for being with us today.